Hi everyone, it's Kate from The Fold Line and I am back this week with, well actually back this year. This is our first video of 2018 and I've got something kind of cool to show you. We have got a preview of a spanking new sewing magazine that has just come out, and Frances, who runs the Makers Atelier, sent us a copy of her magazine and we thought that we'd do a review of it. And here it is. So it literally arrived this morning and I was so excited that I read it, and then I just had to do the video straight away so that I could give you my first and proper thoughts on it. So stuff that you can't see via the camera. The quality of the paper is absolutely gorgeous. If I'm thinking a sort of a look for the magazine would be a mixture of COS and Jaeger. If they mulch together to form one brand, that's what I feel like this has, that's the feel of the magazine. So yes, beautiful quality paper. Smell-o-vision, because you can't smell anything, is it smells really nice. I don't know about anyone else, but I just love the smell of new magazines. So what is interesting and different about this magazine? It comes with a sewing pattern. So the pattern on the front is what you get. So it's a sort of kind of boxy t-shirt come top. And what's really clever about the magazine is that throughout it, the kind of t-shirt pops up in all the photo shoots, but it's also portrayed in different ways. So she's used different fabrics to give it a completely different look. And I think it's quite clever having a pattern that you can make in multiple different fabrics and completely change the look and feel of the garment, because I think a lot of people struggle with picking fabrics for patterns, and I think this really does it fantastically. So inside, I don't want to show you loads because I want you to go and buy it and, you know, get excited and read it and discover it on your own, but I'll just show you some of the inside. So the photography in it is absolutely beautiful. So this is the contents page. It's really inspiring. It's actually the nicest thing to get in January, because you feel like I read it and I wanted to kind of sign up to do some workshops. I wanted to go and sew something, and I think that's really clever and nice. So the pattern that comes in it, it's stapled in the middle of, literally right in the middle of the magazine, and you just pull it out and then you're ready to go. It's on a really kind of it's slightly lighter, it's almost slightly lighter than a printer paper. It's not overlapping, so you can literally just cut it and ready to go. And it comes in sizes extra small to extra large, and within here are all the sizing charts. So, right, let's do the kind of patterny stuff. So all the sizing and charts are here. So, it also comes with, which I think is really clever, is the different ways that you can make it. So here, I love that it's like sort of really feminine. This is really sporty. I just think it's a really clever way of doing it. This one is actually in a suede, which I think is a really interesting idea for a top. And yeah, so the finish, the kind of body measurements, let's have a look. So extra small bust is 38 inches and then extra large is 54 inches. So in terms of sizing, that's quite a wide range. I will, if I come in really close, anyone who's interested can freeze this screen and have a look to see if their sizes are there. Right, so cool stuff. The thing that I found really interesting about this is that she's doing really cool stuff kind of within her business to make it, I don't know how to describe it, it's just like interesting. So the thing that I really loved in this, there's an article at the front called Design Studio. So this is a an article about Frances, who has set up this, I guess like an opportunity for graduates to, fashion graduates I should say, to create a sewing pattern. And I thought it was really interesting because, having come from a fashion background myself, I studied fashion design at university. I had no idea about the home sewing market. I only discovered it when I started working at Sew Over It, and I think fashion and home sewing are completely different beasts, and they very rarely sort of overlap. So Frances has gone to university and she's set up this kind of relationship with them, so that she will pick a graduate that will design a sewing pattern for the Maker's Atelier, which I thought was really interesting and just really clever. I think it was a really interesting idea. So she is teaching them, you know, obviously it helps your pattern cutting skills, you're learning how to do instructions, which within the fashion world you never think about instructions of how to construct a garment, because you're generally just designing it and sending it off to the factory to get made, or then sending it over to your production person who does all the specs, which are the kind of line drawings for you, and then it goes off to either your pattern cutter or your factory, who will then make your first toile. So I thought it was really interesting to sort of bring it all together and actually kind of let other fashion students know that there is another world, that they don't have to get into sort of the straight fashion industry. I found that really interesting, and I think for me, as someone, you know, I'd have loved this if this opportunity was around when I was graduating, because I went to design school to make. I loved making, that was a thing I really adored, and actually you realise when you get into the world of it, you aren't making that much. So that I thought was really nice, and this is the pattern that she has designed for them, and it's totally on brand, and it will be out in March, which I think is really exciting, and I love this, so I think I might be making it. So then there's also a lovely article about the girl who's designed it, and why she got into fashion, and which was really interesting. What else? So you obviously then have instructions on how to make the top, which are really nice little illustrations, and it's quite a simple pattern, so it wouldn't take you too long to whip up. There are some beautiful, beautiful photo shoots in this. So within all of the sort of shoots are patterns from the Maker's Atelier, and if you like anything, you know, she's written up here the names of the patterns, and so you can go and onto her site and buy them if you wanted them. I just think it's a really interesting way of doing kind of, she's selling a brand and a lifestyle, and this magazine is wonderful because I bought into it. I want it all. The other thing which I think is really fantastic are, she's got these pages where you've got all of the patterns that she's designed in fabric, so you can see them, and underneath she's got the name of the pattern, and then you can see the front and back view, which is really interesting and really lovely. And for someone who, I love buying ready-to-wear fashion as well as sewing patterns, so for me, seeing them made up in the garment, laid out in a almost not catalogue, but like format like this, it's really easy to see and really enjoyable way of looking at patterns and thinking, it's really nice because you can see them and you can be like, oh, actually that will go with that trouser, and I want this skirt to go with this top. And I think it's a really lovely way of kind of perusing. So interspersed between sort of pattern inspiration, photo shoots, there are some really lovely articles. The one I particularly loved was about the shoemakers. So Frances went and learned how to make shoes, and it was during this week that she decided to start the Maker's Atelier. So she went back and interviewed the people who taught her, and it's really lovely reading about them, their business, how everything got set up. The other article that I absolutely loved was from Grace from Beyond Measure. So she's got the most wonderful shop if you haven't been on it. It's a sort of sewing, it's like the liberty of sewing tools. She's got beautiful tools. So she's done an article about the, I can't remember quite, Japanese screw punch, which is here, and you can see on it, this is the detail on the bottom of the suede boxy top. So I thought that was a really nice little detail to bring that in. Yeah, there's another article. I feel like I'm kind of showing you everything, but I'm gonna do it. I thought this was really interesting. So it's called Heirloom, this article, and it's showing patterns on different generations of women. So you can see here, this is a mother and two daughters, and they're all wearing the same pattern but just different variants of the pattern. And there's more. I don't want to show you all of them because they're really beautiful. And so there's other kind of mothers and daughters together. This is another one of the three girls wearing another item, and I just thought it was really interesting. I think that's what Frances has done really well with the Maker's Atelier, because she has managed to make her pieces, well, the pattern's quite timeless, so I definitely think that, you know, younger women can wear her patterns as well as old women, and I think that shows to me like good design, because you want something that, you know, someone who's in their 20s can make in like a really bright, vibrant crepe and wear out on a night out, but you also want something that's a woman in their 60s can wear and feel comfortable in, you know, a silk, and it's really luxurious and more grown up. And I think that's what, you know, this and she has done really fantastically. So yeah, I think this is going to come out, I think she said twice a year. Correct me, Frances, if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'd highly recommend this. I think it's a really nice way to start the year. I found it really inspiring, and I really now want to actually get my sewing machine out and make some stuff. But I loved the sort of, there's a real feel of like the maker and what it is to make and to have a business, a handmade business, and yeah, I just think it's really beautiful and I would highly recommend it. So cost-wise, this is £15, which I think actually is pretty good value because you get the pattern as well, and this magazine on its own without the pattern I would definitely pay £15 for, because it's really inspiring and beautiful. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm really excited about this. It's really nice seeing sewing companies bringing out magazines, because I don't know about you guys, but I love actually having, you know, a PDF is great in terms of magazine, but I really love having it in my hand and feeling it. There's something really lovely about that. So yeah, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed that, and I should say that I will pop a link down below to Frances's site so you can head straight over there and buy a magazine if you wish. Alright, see you soon. Bye!